finally do my postpartum video. I didn't make any notes, and I'm going to try and just get through this, and hopefully it makes some sort of sense. After I had Eddie, we found out that I had broken my tailbone while pushing him out, and I was in a lot of pain from that. In the hospital, after, I got into my mother-baby room, I really didn't care for a couple of the nurses that were in there. I don't know, they just didn't help very much. They didn't tell me what was okay to do, what wasn't okay. I kept having to push the button to ask them things, and I don't know, just wasn't very happy with them, especially for that hospital. It's a really nice hospital, and they didn't do that great. So anyways, I went home 24 hours after I had him. It was Thanksgiving Day. Went home. We were supposed to cook the turkey that day and bring it over to my sister's house, but we weren't able to do that, so they came over to our house and got it while we were still at the hospital and cooked it over there. My mom and stepdad were still in town, so a little bit after we got home, they went over to my sister's and, had Thanksgiving and gave me and my husband some time to ourselves at home with the baby. I was in a lot of pain. Not to mention I was exhausted because, I had gone into labor at 1:30 in the morning after only an hour and 45 minutes of sleep, and I was awake that whole night after he was born too. I couldn't sleep. I was too paranoid about him choking on his spit or, something, just being a new mom, I guess. So I was exhausted, and they had me taking ibuprofen and Percocet for my pain, and I couldn't take those pills anymore because it was just making me so much more tired. I was drugged on top of being exhausted. So it really didn't help with the pain very much anyways. My actual, vaginal area didn't hurt very much at all at the time, or maybe my tailbone was just so much worse that I didn't notice it. But anyways, for, I don't know, the first couple of weeks, really, maybe a week and a half, it took me literally 5 minutes to even get up off the couch or off the chair, and I was sitting on donuts, on the boppy pillow, on anything I could to get off my tailbone, but I couldn't get up very quickly at all, and that was really stressful for me because although my husband was home, my baby's crying in the crib next to me, I wanted to be able to just get up in a hurry and sit wherever I wanted to and try and feed him, and I couldn't. I was in tears. I was in so much pain. When he was born also, he had little bruises up his left arm from my tailbone hitting him on the way down. So anyways, at 6 days postpartum, I went back to my OB's office because that's when my vaginal area really was in a lot of pain. I felt like I just had a feeling that all my stitches had come loose and I was torn open again. And I tried, this is kind of gross, too much information, but I laid my long mirror on the floor and squatted over the top of it to try and see what was going on down there. And it's horrible. I can't believe how mangled you look down there after having a baby. It was horrible. So I couldn't see, obviously. The stitches were apart because I didn't have any stitches on the outside. I tore internally, so they were all up inside. Couldn't see through all the blood and all that nastiness. So I went in, and she wasn't very nice at all. I told her, I said, is there anything you can put on me, a numbing something or other before you start poking around down there? And she's like, no, just spread your legs, let me see what's going on. And I don't like her. I have a few choice names I could say, but I won't. Anyway, she said everything was fine. I'd healed great, and I was really lucky that I didn't have to get an episiotomy with that big of a baby. She said, no. You just deal with it. It gets worse before it gets better. But that stir fry, I said no. You want to get down? You lay down or get down? Before she did the exam, she obviously put a whole bunch of lubrication, some KY jelly all over her hands, and I noticed as we were leaving, and for the next like half hour of us being out and about, that I felt a lot better. And I realized that the reason was is that that lubrication was making my skin down there not, you know, catch on each other at all. It was just gross and slimy and all sliding against each other. And that helped tremendously. So we went to the store and I bought a big old bottle of KY jelly, and I used that every day after I went to the bathroom until I felt better without it, and that helped a lot. So if there's any ladies out there that haven't had their babies yet, or ladies that are going to have more babies, keep that in mind. When you're in pain after the hospital, they always have you do all this stuff. You know, use a spray bottle, maybe that dermoplast spray, what are they called? The witch hazel wipes or whatever they are, which is basically like hemorrhoidal wipe. Get KY jelly too. Maybe you should ask your doctor. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have done that or something. But so ask your doctor if that's okay. But for me, it worked awesome, and I was in a lot less pain. So I'd say probably 5 days into, 5 days postpartum. Every single night, around the same time, 5, 6 o'clock, I would just start crying hysterically. Not hysterically, I shouldn't say that. I was just really upset. I'd sit there and just kind of tears flowing for a good half an hour or so. I was like, no, not hysterical. I felt empty, psychologically, physically. I didn't like it. I missed having him inside of me, in my belly. I couldn't feel him anymore, and I missed having my belly, and I missed every part of it. I was really upset about how my labor went. Although everything went fine, he came out healthy, I was able to push him out. It was in a short amount of time, blah, 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 all good. But I really wanted to have a natural delivery. I wanted to sit in the tub. I wanted to have no epidural, and I didn't get to sit in the tub, and I had an epidural, and I felt like I missed out on the delivery and labor of my son, and I felt awful. I was blaming myself, and I was very, very angry at myself for a good few weeks after I had him, and I would cry every night about it. And usually it seemed to be when my husband got home from work. He'd get off around 5 or 6, and he'd come home in a good 20 minutes. I keep saying that in a good, whatever. I don't even talk like that. He'd come home, and that was the point in the night where I would start crying. And I think it was because, the other parent was home, and I was able to kind of lose my cool for a few minutes because he was at home to be able to take care of Eddie. Whereas before I felt like I needed to just stay in control and, deal with your feelings on the inside and take care of your son, which I did. So what I had was the baby blues, and that's an actual medical term you can look up. There's postpartum depression and there's baby blues, and I had the baby blues. I didn't have any bad feelings about my son at all, no feelings of wanting to hurt myself or him or anything like that. And there's way more to postpartum depression than those kind of things, but those are the main ones that people think of, I think, when you say that name. So baby blues, you can read about that if you want to. It was awful. I was worried. I was thinking I was going to feel like this forever, and I had said, if I'm not over these feelings in the next 2 weeks, then I'm going to the doctors because I need some help. I can't feel like this forever. I was like, we have to have another baby. I must be pregnant again. It wasn't even for the right reasons at that point. I was just like, I just need to have another baby inside of me. I have to. Another reason for me feeling so empty and stressed out, and I was exhausted. My son was colicky, and he didn't sleep a wink at night. That was the time of day when he was screaming his head off. So I was exhausted, and so I had serious baby blues, but they did go away about 3 weeks postpartum. I need to stop this video and start another one, and so I'll be right back.